So right up front, um, where to start? I guess, I actually want to start back at the beginning. There's a lot of kind of work I want to do today. um, the Uplift DAO team and community have put together and cultivated and improved a bunch of Uplift DAO proposals to meet this pretty spectacular moment. And it's going to be a challenge, like a big one, kind of multiple ones. Like it's a lot, and we've been dealing with some existential shit for 6 months, right? Like it's been a long go. And I finally took some time to kind of go out in the woods and really disconnect, which I should have done earlier, frankly, just to get some perspective. And obviously the Minecraft news from last week was epic, right? And a closer read. It's now clear that the biggest thing that they don't want is for you to put any Web3 stuff into their client. Good news, we've never done that. Like we've never done even like a little bit of that, right? But their take on digital scarcity is just awful. I actually retweeted, and I put this in the Discord as well. There was a thread about how just outlining how bad their take on and hypocritical, frankly, their take on digital scarcity is. And I personally think they're gonna come around. I think they're gonna have to, right? But immediately we're like, okay, well, what do we do, right? Because we're not gonna do nothing. We're not just like, oh, we're dead now, right, and walk away. We're not gonna do that at all. And so we start looking. Okay, so what's actually important? And this is really what got me, like, trying to figure out, okay, what are we gonna do next? That's why I sort of had an emergency moment. Okay, I'm gonna leave for 48 hours. Right, nothing crazy is going to happen. Everybody still has tons to do, and this is the thing. Like I leave for 48 hours, and there's freaking 11 new DAO proposals, and they're good. I'm excited about them. But yeah, I had to get back to, but I was trying to figure out, like, because there's lots of change that can come now, right? It's sort of, we've been given this sort of potential breaking point moment, right? And technically, like, we could stay on Minecraft, we could just hang out there and wait, and probably be okay. That's not enough. And not only that, the more I thought about it, and I think other people have had this experience as well, the more I thought about it, the more it's like, this is an opportunity to evolve, to get to another level, whether that means finding a Minecraft clone that is open source that we can turn into whatever we want, right? Suddenly casinos are okay, as a very limited example, right? But there's no risk, existential risk of Minecraft changing the rules again to target what we do specifically, which they're well within their rights to do at any time, right? But I had to go back to the beginning. Mike, I'm so glad that you're here. I was just talking about, like, finally getting away for a little bit. And my goal, it's funny, my goal is like, how do we make enough money to get through the crypto winter, right? Because we can do new things, and like the Minecraft thing is kind of being downgraded from like an absolute emergency to just like we should probably take this as a signal, and move forward. And I sat with that, right? And Mike, I might as well let you know. Let everybody know. I may or may not have done an ayahuasca ceremony this weekend. It is a plausible summation of events. caveat. And you set an intention when you do that, and I had a bunch, and I learned a bunch, and I'll be unpacking it for months. But the interesting thing is, when I posed the question about meeting this moment and achieving enough revenue to keep the servers on, what immediately came up, and I had been trying to really capture this for a long time, and I've just been stressed out, and it's tough to sort of stay perfectly connected to your vision when you're as stressed out as I have been, and luckily I'm now not. Ayahuasca is magical. As a total fucking pragmatist, that's the only word that makes sense. It's night and day. But what came up was basically going back to the beginning, right? And I'm actually going to go there now. The act of gathering together in Cathedral 1.0 back in the day, back when we didn't have choice, right? We're all locked in our houses. And, the moment of silence while we watch the sunrise in a digital space where we're sharing it and where we're putting gratitudes up on the wall. It becomes a permanent record, right? I'm going to go back there now. That's still there. And it was a year and a half ago, whatever it was, right? That's always been really important to me. Like, I always feel it when I go back there, right? I get a little verklempt. But project that out over 20 years, right? Many iterations, no matter what platform we go to, it has to be, and this is what ultimately it came out to. We are not a read-only metaverse, and a lot of them are going to be. Some of the most beautiful ones, you're going to walk into that, you're going to own some land, and you're going to be able to do exactly nothing, right? Or you'll be able to play like a game, right? Or whatever. Like, there's going to be different variations of that. But you're in this beautiful landscape that's been sculpted by someone else. And again, like, to me, that's like Netflix, right? Netflix is great. You have videos, you have movies, these are entertaining, right? Like, Netflix is awesome. It's read only. You're not going to write anything on that page. And Netflix has a pretty good market cap, $1 billion, $2 billion. I don't know what the numbers are, right? What we have always been is a read-write metaverse. So what do I mean by that? That means, like, we're in these beautiful environments, we can wander around, it's really fun, but we're actually creating them. Not only the construct of it, right? The buildings, the modifying the territory, creating experiences, but we're encoding our history in it. And that's where the gratitude thing comes back in, right? Like, that's part of our culture. And it's such an honor that has worked, that it's percolated. It's not just me that does it, right? That is a long-standing thing that can be remembered by history now, because now in this metaverse, nothing is forgotten. When we go there and we change something, and that's permanent, and it's protected through property rights. That's huge. And it's a very simple hack. But when you project out one iteration, two iteration, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, it becomes the kind of thing that we project out over 1,000 years and changes the future of civilization. That's what got to me. So how do you make some revenue? Cool. Good story, bro. Why were you here in the first place? And that's it. And it allows us, I think, to really almost not easily. I think there's still a lot of interesting and hard questions, but when we look at new platforms, and we are, right? Mike's among them. And Mike, I'd love to chat today or tomorrow and really dig into that, because I haven't yet. Wherever we go, whatever we do, what platform we sort of morph into, caterpillar to butterfly is the opportunity. It has to have that. We have to be able to build, and we have to be able to encode our history into it meaningfully in a way that is protected with property rights. On that note, I'm going to dial it down a little bit. Wax a little bit less philosophical. I guess while we're here, we'll put up some gratitudes. I'm grateful for ayahuasca this morning. STP, wherever we go, MetaBuilders is happy to help. I mean, this is really, it's funny too, like talking to, other projects and having our default uplift setting of like, we want to be good neighbors. We want to create network effect in the metaverse so that Facebook doesn't take over or whatever, right? MetaBuilders is such a beautiful example of that. We're here to serve this community, and they're badasses. I mean, it's freaking awesome. Anyway, gonna pop over to right. I'm grateful for the Great Awakening. Oh, I got it. Oh, you know what? If the server, I'm actually gonna put this up. I'm gonna put this up in the. I'm gonna put yours up in the old cathedral. Like, and I'm still excited to build this thing out. That's just the beginning. Pretty sure 1.0 is over here. Yes, perfect. I remember when one of our OGs built that. Just a fish tank you can go through. That is so elegantly put. For anyone that can't see Lawrence's comment, for posterity, everyone must know. I'm grateful that Corey's balls deep in this time of change. That's fun. Like my hydrogen molecule monument. Some old school shit out here, son. So yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, this is where we started. Like this is ground zero. Greg turned the server on, and the very first gratitude monument that got made right over here. I actually want to get rid of. I want to get rid of this. I love that we have a portal here, but the fact that it's right in the way of the sunrise drives me freaking bonkers. It doesn't make any sense at all. Anyway, so guys, I am actually going to put your gratitudes up in here. Oh, that's awesome. Hello. How are you guys doing? You wrinkle. So now your gratitudes are up at the beginning, and like this place, I hope that I can describe this someday in a way that really captures it. This place is sacred to me. It's sacred ground in a video game. That's fucked up, right? Like that, like, and this is not going to be the only one, right? Like the fact that this is my first experience of it, and I hope that more people have. I hope you have experienced that like that on your builds. And the trick to that, right, is, and I think gratitude monuments are a very slick hack because it's a practice. It's continuous, right? It's like this organic thing that grows over time. That's not the only way to do it. And people are going to figure out lots of ways to do it. But some way of encoding something every day or like something on a regular basis, but with people, right? Like if I just came here every day and just did this by myself, that's one thing. But like the Uplifters Tower, even though we're live, it'd be better if we were all in game. But that act of doing it together is a big deal. And the act of doing it together while also incorporating that moment of silence with the sunrise is why like this place just, it's where my history is encoded. And like this is like cave painting a trillion point oh. Like this is going to last longer than me. We need to make sure that it lasts longer than me. Like whatever needs to happen to make sure that the object files always exist and the servers are on in whatever capacity we need to keep them on. Well, like however low the power setting needs to be to get through whatever moment we're in. These servers need to last for 1,000 years. And that's more important than a video game. Like Minecraft is this beautiful thing that we get to play around with, but it's not important. I know it's going to be weird for some people to hear because, we've gotten so used to the gameplay of it. But the gameplay is just one bit, right? Because of this read write function, the ability to build and, encode these gratitude monuments, which is really just like, Twitter 1.0 for the metaverse. The difference between the market cap of Facebook and Netflix is like 2 orders of magnitude. And we've already shown that you can sell things in the Uplift. So now we're Shopify, right? So, what's the market cap of Facebook and Amazon? Right? Like the metaverse is going to it's going to eat all of this. It's going to become all of this, right? And, if we capture 1% of the metaverse market over 5 years, we're $1 billion company. Probably more. And that's not Minecraft that'll do that. That's not Minecraft-like gameplay that will do that. Yeah. So, and just to make sure everybody sees this. So STP said there are so many cooler user interfaces that are waiting for us. As long as we have portals in and out of the platforms, we never have to choose. The thing is that portals thing is basically almost impossible, right? Right now, I should say. Like, I think inevitably it'll be easy, right? The software going from one to the other, whatever. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Al just said I'm high. Come back to reality. Like that, I'm in it. And I'm sorry that's hard for you to see. Yeah, I feel sorry for you. But I do know I sound like a crazy person sometimes. I get it. Anyway, to work. We got a ton of DAO proposals. And I'm going to go over them all after I get my little website up. All right. I don't know if you guys can see this, but we got a ton of them up here. Go back to the beginning. Drink some coffee. Hey, Mike, if I actually put a link to join me on this in our Discord pre thing in Discord if anyone wants to come. The DAO channel. If anyone wants to hang out, give me more time to drink coffee. It's actually my first coffee this morning. It's ridiculous. So, anyways, remember when I said we were going to put all of our financial information online? We're doing it. To everyone who thought that was bullshit, go fuck yourself. Sorry. I mean, I have to go back and and try to, I think, sympathize with the distrust and the frustration. It's not like I haven't dealt with a lot of distrust and frustration myself, but anyway, when we say we're going to do something, we do it. Anyway, this is all that. You can vote on it basically saying, yes, I accept this information, or if for some reason you want to reject that information, you can vote to do that. All of it's checkable on chain, so that would be a bit of a ridiculous thing, but people are allowed to do whatever they want to do. But we wanted to get it on chain, and we wanted to get it on chain, in the actual DAO proper, which is why we throw this up on here and then vote on it to basically affirm that we've all seen it. What's the next one? So this one, proposal to adopt and again, just for anyone that doesn't know, we do the pre-proposals to meet quorum, and what that means is basically setting it up so that anyone could put up a DAO proposal, right? And that DAO proposal right now has to hit 12 million out of 100 million DAO tokens. So about 12%. Granted, there's a bunch that are not released yet. And so far, I have not used any of my main tranche, and that's kind of the goal, right? Like, we the whole point of having the DAO is to really engage the community spirit of it. And I have that as a backup in case we ever needed to kind of veto anything, but like vetoing things would be really lame. So the idea is to never do it, right? And I haven't had to. Like, I haven't pulled out those big guns. I've actually bought some DAO tokens since we put the LP up, and like some extra ones. And I have my player thing, so I vote with those. So I'm basically, that's sort of at the level of just being a member of the community. I've been doing that stuff. Anyway, so this is to meet quorum, and then after that, it goes to a final vote. Again, anyone can put up a DAO proposal. Highly recommend getting it workshopped in the Discord before you put it up there, just because there's a lot of ways to really enhance it, and sort of some method that we have now that people can help you with if you do it. But that's that thing. So then it'll go up to a final vote, and then however that vote goes is how we adopt it. So and we put this up really quickly, and we wanted to do that, right? And I think we could go back and forth on whether that was the right call. I can kind of see both ways, right? I think waiting a couple of days, I said right that day, there's a good chance we're going to come back in a couple of days, and this is not going to be as serious as we think, and that's exactly what happened. But anyway, so in response to the recent statement from Mojang, basically has some wording about how we want all that stuff to go, and basically just a statement of saying, like, we want to maintain the idea that as long as we're fucking A, how's it going, Mike? As long as we're, I think working to be compliant in good faith as much as possible, that's a good thing, right? We've always done that, right? Hence the the PG-13 servers, which is like an escalation versus what their Minecraft EULA suggests, right? We wanted to just err on the side of being awesome that way. So we're gonna work to be as compliant as possible. Turns out that we are actually compliant already with exactly what they want to do. But I think one thing that they talked about is the inclusion, which is really honestly, I think it's ill thought out in a lot of ways, but I think it comes from a good place with them. That's where we're the passport gating, the NFT passport gating to actually get into the server at all. I think we're just gonna get rid of that, right? So like that's a big change that we're gonna make. Like, okay, well, we see your frankly Luddite childish feelings about this Minecraft, but we want to be open as well, so we'll do our best. Anyway, so that stuff's in there. And additionally, we want to work to kind of move forward and start entertaining new platforms that we can evolve into. So that's basically what this statement says. And you can go in and take a read on it and vote on it if you want to. So I think, where are we on quorum on this one? And so there's some disagreement on this too. And I think that's it's not irrational to disagree, because there's like some people that had problems with like specific wording or whatever. I honestly don't think it's that important. Like, we just need to put something out. And obviously all of it can be amended and edited and improved down the road. There's 10 million votes now. This one lasts for another 3 days. I don't think I put my player account on this, so I'll probably put in.
I voted this morning.
Cool. Yeah, I think my player account and the DAO tokens that I bought is now at about like 800,000, which is kind of fun. I want to get it up to 1 million. And thankfully, DAO token price is really small right now, so I'm probably going to buy some more. Anyways, that's out there. There's lots to get to, though, so I'm going to kind of run through these. Mike, you want to say hello? Thanks for joining me, man.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for letting me know that invite was there.
Faux show. Oh, yeah, Lawrence. So Lawrence said, I feel kind of stupid this morning. I did not know why everyone was voting abstain. Now I know. Yeah, so just to go over that again, the reason that we have that abstain in there, and everyone who does a proposal should include it, is when anyone on the team, we try not to weigh in, right? Because we're really trying to gauge the community sentiment for it, right? So unless we feel really strongly about it, or unless it's something that just kind of needs to pass or whatever, we would prefer a lot of the time to vote abstain, and that gets it over the quorum to get it to the final vote, right? So that's basically us saying, like, we definitely think this should go to a final vote, but we're not gonna like apply the full weight of the teams 2.5% each or whatever, right? So super important to keep that abstain in there.
So how it works? Do you like submit the pre-proposal, and then someone from the community, like Ramses or whatever, submits a final proposal?
No.
Or do we submit a final proposal?
I think once it passes quorum, that's actually a good question. I think once it passes quorum, you could just do it, right? But that's
Yeah, because
probably
I've
a good
never
thing to
really
check.
submitted a proposal, so
Yeah,
the format isn't attractive.
when I did it, now granted, like I, like I think it was actually Ramses that did put up the final. That's a good question, Mike. I'll find out. I don't know the best answer to that yet.
Fair
Are we
enough.
making this up as we go? Yes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Right? We're making relatively intelligent guesstimates, but I think iteration again is the key, right? Like we want to
Yeah, I mean, the first caveman to ever hit another caveman over the head with a rock was just winging it. Now we got atom bombs. So
it was just winging it. That's entirely true. Thank you for that. Right? Fire was probably a mistake the first time, and that's gone interestingly. So here's one: empowering scarcity and thus the rules and bans committee by allowing her to bypass KYC. This, I was reviewing this. I talked to the team about it a little bit because obviously there's some security concerns about that. I've had I was a little worried about it, frankly. And Sadie, for the record, like I actually trust Sadie. She's done amazing work for us. Like the way that we have prosecuted moderation to make a better community has worked, in my opinion, right? And that takes a lot of work, and it's work I don't want to do. And Sadie's been doing that in a really good way. Anyway, like there's like just some technical difficulties getting some IDs for her that she's gone through with us and the team or whatever. And it's not like bypassing KYC. It's like basically modifying the high standard that we want to keep a little bit. So I think I'm good with this one. I'm definitely good with Sadie in general. So anything we can do to sort of help keep her around, I think is important. But people can make their own call on that. This one's fun. Jen sent me this one when I was on my way home, and it made me tear up a little bit. Not gonna lie. I might even just quorum this. Oh, there's no abstain on this one. Come on now.
Well, Corey, I had something I wanted to mention to you real quick.
Yeah.
So we have clients coming on that are ready to onboard a ton of other little clients and whatnot, and are basically ready to build in these virtual worlds. And the only thing stopping them right now is with the Uplift world, the transition. Like they're afraid to build anything in Ethereum or market Ethereum. And, I'm trying to come up with a solution to that ASAP, so that, because we took client money to build in Ethereum as a service, and it's just kind of like, well, where are we going to go?
I think you're safe, right? I mean, at the end of the day, so I mean, right now Minecraft is fine for us. Like that's the takeaway, right? Like if you actually look at what they've banned, we haven't done any of that, right? Now, in a hyper abundance of caution, and because this sort of like slapped us all awake to what is possible, we're looking for ways to basically evolve and gain more functionality, right? But we don't have to hurry to do that, right? I think it's important for us to do it, but we don't have to hurry.
Yeah, I understand.
One of the things that we're making sure for any platform that we go to, right? You have to be able to take the object file to build in the Uplift, whatever that is, right? And bring it over to the new platform, because we need continuity. Like that's the whole point, right? Because these object files are so kind of amazing and versatile, we can go from platform to platform and do that. But the whole point is that continuity of maintaining the creativity that people have built in, right? So whatever effort you expend building in Ethereum now is not time wasted, right? It's basically you're pre-building in whatever platform comes next.
Right, and that's kind of how we were looking at like extending. Well, one, we need the project files or the build files to be able to port them into these worlds and see exactly how much of a pain in the ass it really is. Like to do a whole world at once, or if we have to do each build at a time. So it would be nice to at least get some practice on that. But yeah, we're trying to build a skeleton to where we can move it from world to world, even if we got to have like a breakaway where we just add chunks at a time. That way, as we do build in Ethereum, we can start building Ethereum as a file.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're doing, right? I mean that's what we're all doing. and we've been doing it from the beginning. Just people didn't know that's what was happening, right? Like there is an object file that can be, carved up. You can have pieces or whatever. I'm so glad that Chris decided to come and join us. Chris, hello.
Hey. Yeah, no, I just want to make a comment on the object files versus builds and stuff, because you'll see it in some of the later proposals. But like the current plan internally has nothing to do with object files. It has to do with moving the entire world file, including all of your materials, the plots, the blocks themselves. It's everything being migrated.
Oh, that's for
Awesome.
for mind test?
Yeah, for Mindtest, for Unreal development, for what we're looking at internally, and Mindtest already looks like it should support most of that, so that's why it's the best candidate for that, is that
Right.
it's a whole cloth import of absolutely everything. We have the option to change like what materials look like, we can do new skins, we can do all sorts of stuff around that, but like at the default, we'd import everything. Same for the Unreal development. If we were going to look at that internally, the goal is to import the whole worlds. They might look different because we've decided to not be on a voxel platform anymore if we did that one.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a little more favorable towards Mindtest, but like it would still be importing everything. The proposal for welcoming host platforms, right? That one's all about things that aren't necessarily our whole worlds. That could be object files. That could just be the grid of plots. There's a lot more options there for people that want to come to us and solicit with things to add to. But
Yeah.
like the internal plan is to just move the whole worlds.
Yeah, well, and I absolutely love that, and even like clearly for Unreal, I think the biggest challenge there would be like, how do you get the like mapping each one of the blocks and the gameplay mechanics? Like that. I mean, I could see where like if Modded was thinking in that way when we were talking this morning, like that's an absurd lift.
Yeah, that's why I think Unreal or other engines is a little silly, because that's what a lot of companies say they're going to do. Is it's like, okay, we're going to build a game of some sort from scratch in Unreal, and it's always a pain in the butt. And
Yeah.
if we have the extra need to import a bunch of stuff that comes from Minecraft, it's going to take a while just to get the import right. But
Yeah.
like you can import the world file, you can import a list of all that stuff, their coordinates, all the stuff you would need. And in Unreal or Mindtest, you could then choose which of it to implement as you've got the various mods or the packages built for it. So
Yeah.
that, it's totally possible. It's just with Unreal, you've got all sorts of backend stuff. You have to build a whole client from scratch. You have to build the multiplayer or import multiplayer. You
Yeah.
have to decide if you're doing voxels or regular land. And then, like you say with gameplay, Mindtest has basically no gameplay, but there's mods for all the gameplay, bringing it all the way up to full Minecraft. So we've got options of how much gameplay we want to bring in.
Yeah.
And if we wanted to, we could decide to exclude things and to do it totally differently too. So
yeah, that's interesting. Well, and I think the simple rule starts to apply across the board, right? Like I definitely have been thinking about, the how we start the process of order of magnitude bootstrapping what's going on, right? And to me, like I know this is I'm sort of out on my own about this, but the Minecraft gameplay is a tiny part of this for me. And I know for our community right now, it's massive. And so fuck what I think about it, right? Like we can do that later. I think that the most important thing is the core community that we have right now, maintaining the experience as much as humanly possible, as quickly as possible without breaking the bank. Just seems like it's sort of the obvious sort of first order thing we need to do.
Right. And like honestly, in the DAO proposal discussion, like I've been a proponent of let's do mind test, but let's not do mind clone. Let's not put all the mods in right away. Let's not try to bring things all the way up to compatible and like the same as Minecraft. Let's use mind test because it's a great platform to import our worlds. It's got the mods we need for various backend stuff. We can get started and then we can decide as a DAO, hey, do we want mobs? Do we want to design our mobs, or do we want to import lookalike mobs from Minecraft? Do we want the mobs to spawn like normal mobs, or do we want them to go across the map once an hour as a sweeping raid or something like that? We can completely dissect things and do it however we want, right? Like whole new gear, whole new ideas of what PvP could be like, or we just import a mod that is the same as Minecraft and go for it.
I can see the core community just chewing on that like just a giant machine for the entire crypto winter. Because that's the sort of game within the game, right? Like what parts of this? What's the guy who keeps asking for fishing? As long as we have fishing holes, he's totally fine.
Yeah, I forget who asked for that, but it sticks in my head, and now I'm using it all the time as an example.
It's so funny. I ended up talking to him, just like chatting back and forth or whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, man, don't worry about it, man. As long as I can fish." I was like, "Okay, must have fishing hole. Check."
Fishing is
It's
actually
fun.
very relaxing in Minecraft.
I need to do one of these fishing derbies. I've done some fishing, but like it's not a level of zen that I've achieved yet.
Dude, I entered a whole new era of Minecraft just by fishing. I was like, I went from walking to flying real quick.
That's awesome. All right, we'll maybe have to do like a I don't know, like a fishing show. That'd be funny.
So
Yeah,
I'm
well,
getting
we
ready
should
for the
fish.
day. Sorry about that. I'm
Go
getting ready
ahead.
for the day while I'm listening to all this. So I'll be in and out a bit, but I'm happy to stay on stream technically and to pop in if anything
Yeah,
comes up.
yeah, exactly. Anytime I'm missing something, please, that would be awesome because we both know I will. All right. So pre-proposal to put gratitude monuments on the Uplift World as a 3D experience. So on our website, Modded Outlaw created this thing where you have a web-based 3D experience of like an Uplift build, right? And we really want to lean into these gratitude monuments as again, like I went to the Cathedral 1.0. I was waxing philosophical enough about it that some dude said I was still high, which is pretty fair, frankly. It's an out there idea, and I get that, but it's one that really has created an amazing foundation for us, and we're huge fans of it. Anyway, and I think having the ability per world, if there's a gratitude monument per world or whatever, we put a 3D 360-degree experience up that on the website so that people can experience that from the web, right? In a way that doesn't require Minecraft or Minetest or anything. So anyway,
Nice.
yeah. So, and again, this goes through like the revenue opportunities, because a lot of the stuff that we're obviously focused on, bootstrapping the revenue. If you look at our financial statement and what our monthly costs have been, and we're working like crazy to drop them as quickly as possible, so we don't run out of money before so we don't have to do some emergency shit with the servers or whatever, right? So we're trying to figure out revenue. So all these things have to do with getting revenue in there, and the donate button is an idea, I think, in another one of the proposals. But yeah, I think linking to all the different content that we put up on the website, which and there's tons, right? Is gonna be fun. So anyway, you'll be able to vote on this one. The
Yeah, I was
timeline's
going to
really good,
mention
too.
about the revenue. We're setting up some sort of commission structure so that we can scale our services, since we have 240 people ready to commit these services. You know what I mean? So, maybe we can have a discussion about some sort of commission for the Uplift World Marketing Committee or whatnot, to where we can get links, and if you guys promote and it results in a sale of our services, that you guys get or Uplift World gets a cut.
I mean, that sounds like another proposal that we should just workshop and run through.
Right. I think we need to link up with people that are smarter than me and have them help me write proposals.
I think I think we just need to do it. And I know you've done one already. And I don't know where the workshop sort of stage is on that, but I think it's just a matter of practice. So this is the donate button. So yeah, summary: this proposal works in conjunction with having worlds pages on websites to drive traffic. It means like each world is going to get its own page, right? And every page on the website would get a donate to the DAO button. Donate button's a one-click button that gives users the opportunity to donate any amount of Ethereum or Wax to the DAO. A short "why donate" statement of 30 words or less will appear with the wallets accepting donations. This statement would be carefully crafted by marketing. Basically, I think I'll do it, and marketing can just make it sound cooler. Potential for additional or future development would be a monthly subscription donation button. This idea actually leads to like 50 other amazing ideas. Donate button would also be in the email newsletter. Future options include having the donate button trigger a signature request and integrate an option for accepting fiat. I think we're actually a lot closer to that than I think we're pretty close to that, actually. Benefits of this should be pretty self-explanatory. Yes. I mean, the thing is, like, no matter what, we need to make it through the winter. Like, that's the biggest thing, right? Like the East stuff, is still going, and that's fine. Obviously, like, Minecraft, shot a torpedo at us. We survived that, but I think sentiment, people are still, leery out there, and it's going to take a while to rebuild that, right? So like, we're having to scramble to get enough runway to basically keep the lights on, right? So this is part of that, right? We're going to get that stuff going.
That's why I think it would be important to at least show that we can. That's why I kind of want to bring at least the SDP builds or something over into a virtual world in Neos and deck it out and show people, hey, look, this is what we were doing over here, but now we're doing it over here. And so it's like,
right. And
have some fucking faith.
The Landbox guy did exactly that, right? I mean, that he grabbed one of the Uplift builds and threw it in his Unity platform, which is so we know we can do that, right? And on the mind test thing, like these object files are gonna get loaded. Like we know we're gonna be able to do that. It's like it's close enough that I mean the biggest thing is like Minecraft coming in to actually like nuke us. Honestly, it's not gonna happen. Right. Even, when, all this stuff came out and it looked like we might actually be a target for their ban, we're tiny. They're not going to enforce it. And I was telling everybody, like, watch how they actually enforce this because they might not enforce it at all. Right. And so far they haven't. It's just a fun little statement they made, right? Clearly targeting NFT worlds. Sorry, guys. Right.
Well, and this is interesting too, because like there have been a few community members who have said the same thing and who feel like it might be a better approach to not do most of the upcoming dev stuff or pivots or look for imports or export options. They think we should just double down on Minecraft, continue to develop on Minecraft, and make a big announcement saying, hey, we're bullish about our position compared to the other platforms. We think we're in the right place for it. Try to bring everybody in that way by saying, hey, look, we're sticking around through this, because all the other platforms seem to be saying, hey, we're moving, and there's might be room for someone to say something different. I think it's too risky. I think there's no harm in leaving the servers open, but developing just seems risky, especially 5 days out from the announcement, and we have to do something productive. But I want to acknowledge those people, and I think that technically there's a path through votes and all these upcoming proposals if the DAO really felt that way for that to be what happens. I just don't really personally see it.
Yeah, the mindset should always be in addition to, not in lieu of.
100%. That's something that like, I would, I would bring out my big guns for that. It's too much of a risk. It really is. And I get the sentiment. And the thing is, I think and there's probably a way to do both, right? Like, not to say that, hey, we're on Minecraft forever, because we don't know if we can, right? Like that's something that we can't know. And it's worked to fast track the ability to build this Minecraft in the first place. That's why Minecraft was such a fun idea right off the bat, right? It's like off the shelf parts, people understand it. And, it's not like we wasted the last year and a half. Like we've, come, leaps and bounds towards building a metaverse that can stand the test of time and upgrade platform to platform to platform starting on Minecraft. Great, right? And we can build on it, I think, as long as we want, probably. But we can't ever depend on it now, right? They have clearly come out, at least with a really toxic, understanding of digital scarcity. I mean, that's, and again, I think we can offer the fact that, like, hey, if you're in these other worlds, like, you can come connected to us. We're going to ride it out here, and not turn these things off. But I mean, when there's alternatives, we've just been shown that, it's time to start bootstrapping. And I think that's just a really positive thing. Anyway, sorry for the rant. So anyway, got a bunch of vote options on there. Super fun. Where are we in quorum on this one? Is there a way to just like see the total that's already in, or do you just kind of have to eyeball it? Anyway,
I think you have to eyeball it, but I know Modded Outlaw was working on something for his site that would have things like vote totals. So
it'd be really cool if there was a way to see stuff that was just final or just you know what I mean? Like to have basically like a gating function or like stuff.
I super agree. Yeah, right? One of the early roles that I had proposed that wound up not making it into that first batch was a DAO archivist, right? With the goal of being to take all these proposals and to build a living document that makes it super clear what's passed, what hasn't, what the results are of it. But I think somebody like Modded Outlaw can automate almost all of that, and it doesn't have to be a hand-curated thing necessarily.
I love them. All right, so this is sexy as hell. Pre-proposal to create world pages on the Uplift World with daily click requests. We've kind of talked about, world pages per page. So, London gets a page, Uplift gets a page. Like, I've always kind of wanted to do that anyway, right? So think like, where we hide all the alpha, like the blog, but for the actual worlds, right? And I think down the road, that, 'cause each world is eventually going to have its own DAO token, its own governance structures, yada, yada, yada. I think that was always the idea. And eventually, like, they would own that, I think, right? Or it would make sense for them to have, control of that. And that makes this idea that much more of an awesome sort of kicking off point. So the Uplift World's metaverse comprises many worlds. Each world has a unique history, player base, and its own lore. Each world would have a page on the Uplift World website with a couple of paragraphs describing the world's history and screenshots that are updated weekly featuring someone's plot. The pages could also be used to advertise world-specific events. World pages would also be a good place to have stories about citizens and their projects and lives outside of the Uplift. And actually, it'd be really cool too if there was a QR code linked to this at each spawn, right? If you have like a spawn building or whatever, like you have an easy access place where there was a build in that world that correlated with the website. Anyway, each page would have a small daily claimable upliftium or partner drip to click on. Let me say this again. Each page would have a small daily claimable upliftium or partner drip to click on. And partner drip is like sometimes we have Nefty, we could use Blue Duck, again, if we wanted to. Alien Worlds, we're in, we're gonna get some Trillium at some point. Let's just put it that way, right? I've been talking to them a bunch. So that partner thing is just something that we can cultivate as we go. And honestly, each world could probably figure that out for themselves as well if they wanted to. So anyway, the size of the pool would be agreed upon by full DAO vote and would be refreshed weekly. The pool would be divided by the number of owned land and rail keys, like current Upliftium drips. Each land or rail owner could visit the page of each world where they own keys and collect a drip once every 24 hours. Any unclaimed drip at the end of the week would be stacked into the next week's pool. Alternatively, a daily claim link of some sort could be hidden on one of the world pages every day to drive people to the website to look around for it. I kind of don't. I just want people to show up. You know what I mean? But I'm happy if people want to disagree with me on that. Anyway, it's a really fun idea. So revenue opportunities, partner advertising. Anytime a partner wishes to contribute a small wax-based token pool to a world for a week, they could also pay $100 to have a banner ad on that world's page for the week. This would be done in conjunction with a press release announcing the partner drip event. There's actually a whole proposal on press releases that's effing brilliant. Press release, anytime changes are made to any of the drip pools, it's an opportunity to send out a press release and get attention for the Uplift DAO and possible partner projects. It's an easy way to drive events awareness, which generates revenue if events are ticketed. If people sign up for the email newsletter, they will be informed about future sales and have access to a donate button via the newsletter. Each world page will have a donate button for donating to the DAO with any amount of ETH or wax-based crypto. Creates a use case for land and rail keys that is not Minecraft-based, which might drive secondary market sales. Fucking smart. The botting thing, so botting, this might be a problem, but if it's restricted to owners of land and rail key and the drip is per land or rail key, having multiple accounts or botting doesn't make sense. I think like, if somebody created a bot that basically clicked on the website every day, I mean, you could do that. It's lame. But I think the idea is so powerful besides that it's like, whatever. It's not the end of the world. Individual drip claim is daily, does not stack. If you miss your day, you miss your drip like that. And the whole point is to drive traffic to the website. So, that's barely a downside, if anything. Setting up any kind of wallet integration would be best done by integration with enter.theuplift.world, and this might prove to be a larger effort, although it also has large future potential benefits. This one I don't really get. Chris, could you add some color to that one?
I'm super sorry. I missed which part you were talking about.
The setting up the wallet, because I'm kind of under the impression that like the call function for that is probably pretty easy. Like if you're signed up for a wallet and that wallet has your land in it, that should be like a regular, like a pretty simple contract. But like when you're talking about like wallet integration to enter.theuplift, is that what because it's actually at enter.theuplift, not the website? Is that what we're talking about there?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Our wallet integration is currently all on enter.theuplift. It shouldn't be an issue to add it to the uplift.world though, if that's what people want.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Hey, Lawrence, could you DM me about that? I just saw your last comment. I definitely want to get as much information about all that stuff as I can. We got some timeline stuff. We got, the responsible creators. Dennis is hardcore in on the website and has created some really amazing bones where we can even talk about all this stuff as plausible. And then we would need, Flow and whatever other dev resources to get that stuff done. Anyway, voting strategy, by all means, go in there and have an opinion about that if you want. But I freaking like that one. Okay. Oh, yeah, the banner ads. This kind of goes into what we're talking about, Mike. Hey, Mike, sorry. And you can stop me at any point, Mike. I'm really glad that you're here if you want to chime in.
What were you just about to say?
I was just going to start digging into this, but I wanted to see if you had anything to add to anything we talked about so far.
And I'm here for it, man. I'm just waiting to pop in when it makes sense to try
Okay.
to shove you in the direction of paying me to do stuff that I want to do.
Understood. Yeah, I mean, the really thing is like, all of this is for that, right? Like, A, get enough revenue so that we can keep the lights on. B, get enough revenue so that we can, buy the services of meta builders for fucking whatever. Got it.
Right, and that's how I look at it. Is like this whole time since I hopped in the Uplift world, I've been trying to get to a point where I could capitalize on compounding efforts. You know what I mean? And so the fact that I have to market the Uplift world to market the things that I've spent the past year and thousands of dollars on, it's like it would be nice to be able to compound that so that it's like there's a marketing budget, funnel it back into meta builders. Meta builders sells services, funnels it back into the Uplift world, and it's a self-sustaining ecosystem with the marketing process. Considering we've got this bottleneck with now hundreds of different projects that are involved, and if everybody's saying, okay, meta builders, like let's say for example, everybody who is a skilled builder within the Uplift world community just considers themselves a meta builder, right? Then we can market, look what the meta builders did in Uplift world, and we put a percentage of all the sales that come from anybody who says they're a meta builder back into the Uplift world. Now we have a massive marketing machine that has tons of money coming in.
This sounds like a guild.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, this is what I love most about you, dude. Like, you're, while other people, are, just get frustrated and that's the end of it, right? You're looking at it as an owner, which was kind of always the point, right? Like the whole idea is, we're gonna run this together, and you're just figuring out, okay, well, here's the position we're at. How do we take all this amazing effort and organize it, adding value by organizing it, and move it forward. Anyway,
yeah. Well, and if you look at the packages, and we're selling packages, we have clients that pay tens of thousands of dollars for us to do these types of things. So it's like it would only make sense that if we're going to be marketing the Uplift world, and the Uplift world is a community, and a community is going to be spread, amongst all the virtual spaces, we can, like an orb of light, just absorb everybody along the way. It's like, oh, well, you like communities in the metaverse? Well, we have one of the biggest ones. Like, come on board. We have this metaverse, that metaverse, and we've got the meta builders who are, hundreds of developers and builders in the space. Like we're partnering up with people from Page DAO. So we've got writers, writers guilds, marketing guilds, builder guilds. Like it's going to be the most massive platform, in my opinion.
Right? And this is the way, right? Like you guys, like I've talked a lot about things like scholarships and adding members to plots and how I don't see that getting used a whole lot, even though it's there. But I see people like you working to use the tools we currently have to figure out how to make it work for a big project like you're already putting together. And I think like when I envisioned when we were talking about committees and how that sort of thing would go, the idea was again to let anyone make DAO proposals, to try to make committees be these touchstones, so that people like your group could look at the build committee, go into the build committee, and talk to them and say, "Hey, look, what tools do you guys have? What are you guys working on? How can we work with you? How can we make this function?" Or you could be looking at events committees, right? If you guys are looking to put on certain events, and you can get help, but it doesn't mean you have to go through them or you have to use the services that they're offering. You can get the proposals done directly for something that you might need. So
Right. And another thing I'd like to mention too is the Bitcoin Consultants Worldwide, our newest client, who just bought a ton of land in Ethereum.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much giving it away to their community. They have a group of consultants, and they're working on culminating an entire community of influencers. And they've got people like Bitcoin Ben that are in their ecosystem who just says something, and hundreds of people just start buying stuff. But we're trying to create that bottleneck and just tighten it up as much as we can, and then work it to where everyone gets paid in an automated fashion. We got smart contracts being built by some of the best developers in the space, and we're basically just scaling the process of automation and being able to onboard new activities into that ecosystem just by adding another smart contract and it's going to be massive, and it's going to be super efficient. And I think that the Uplift World is going to be a pivotal, or an important key to this working.
Woo. Yeah, no, and especially thanks, and I hope some of this has been helpful for you guys to feel confident to just keep building in the current worlds, right? Like, there is no reason to pause activities. There's no reason to do anything other than project that confidence that we're here on Minecraft as long as we can be. We're just working on alternatives, and those alternatives will bring everything over. So,
Yes.
I would also
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I wanted to show you later, Corey, when we talk, the My Meta profiles that we got working through Smart Law and all of that. I mean, we have a pitch going on, a red carpet walkthrough in the metaverse. Like, we've got a whole sales funnel happening. I think that you would love seeing it.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Anyway, so we got a proposal up here about setting up banner ads on the website. I won't bore you with it. You should all vote for the most expensive version because even that is really cheap, in my clearly humble opinion. So yeah, $75 a week per placement, and banner ads on the landing page cost 100% more. I think that just makes sense.
Is there a way we could fund a 24-hour acquisition of like a banner ad on Nifty blocks or something so that we always have something up through DeFi or something?
On Nifty? Yeah, I'm going to find out how much that is again. But, I could talk to them about, because they might actually get an ad with us and then we could just swap. But it's a good idea, though. I mean, this is the other thing too. Like I think, it might be worth its own, kind of proposal or whatever, right? Like, figure out how much that would be monthly or whatever, right? And then just like slap an article, QR code, build up, whatever, and say, hey, listen, like, as long as we fund this every month, then we can do it. I don't know.
Wouldn't be the worst time to also look at, I don't know if you saw, Corey, but Nifty released the tool to let people embed their marketplace.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So if we had an embedded version of the marketplace that we still kept some big Nifty branding around and put ads for them, and we're like, look, Nifty's powering all this stuff on enter.theuplift. Click here to go to their full marketplace. We could give them some value and also, increase the user experience for everybody.
Hashtag fuck yes. I don't know why I threw a hashtag in there. I was trying to be cool. Didn't work. Anyways, yeah, no, that sounds like a really good idea. Yeah, that new functionality there is awesome, right? I mean, now that said, like, I'm just still looking forward to the day when like every single one of the world pages has a map and all the secondary market stuff is attached to the map, like bing bang boom. And I'd love to run all of that through Nifty, just so they get the commission on it.
Right. Well, and actually, that's a really good example of one of the things that we can keep working on, even if we pause all Minecraft development, because the idea of maps that are gridded like that, linked to our plots, right, that you can click on and go to the NFT, is going to be universal, no matter what other things those NFTs get you access to. We just might need a layer down the line for like a mine test map that, as it evolves separately from Minecraft or for other platforms as they go. But yeah, that secondary market infrastructure would be fun to have a little time to just build out.
Right. So want to start an email newsletter. Lisa Chandler, who hopefully is still on here, is a gem, was offering to purchase MailChimp for us, so we could run through building a newsletter that's GDPR compliant. And she's even offered to teach the DAO how to use it effectively, which is awesome, right? So this is one of those things where, on all these new pages, we'd have links to join the email newsletter, and there's just tons of things that you can do with that, right? One thing I wanted to bring up, like the 5 Bullet Friday from Tim Ferriss, I think he has like 2 or 3 million subscribers now, right? And so as a revenue center for him, and it's really like he just puts in like 5 little like, hey, this is like a fucking cool book, or like this is a nice quote or whatever. But like, he's friends with a lot of really smart people, so it's like it's very compressed, very high value, right? It's super smart. But makes a shit ton of money, like just an unbelievably idiotic amount of money. So the revenue possibilities are really important, right? Whether it's partner advertising, or press releases that are driving attention for sales, or for partner events, because Smart Digital Payments has, or Meta Builders has something interesting going on. Whatever, like, there's a lot of ways that we can use it, right? And then of course we could have the donate link for donating to ETH and Wax. I would imagine every newsletter would have links to the latest sale page or the secondary market or whatever, right? Like there's a lot of things that we can do on the revenue side, but as importantly, there have been people that, because we're used to the fire hose of information and updates in the Discord. A lot of people just aren't that connected. And that's okay. It should be okay anyway, right? But we also don't want them to miss anything important. So if they could sign up to an email newsletter, right? And just basically like, maybe we put out one a week or whatever it is, right? When there's super important things, they know that they're not ever going to miss that, right? So like if there's some, if when we fork, and if we have like a claim period or something, right? Like they're not going to miss that stuff. So I think that's just a really no-brainer, like really need to do it kind of thing. So this is some of the downsides. The whole advertising paid content will have to be checked to ensure it's PG-13. Honestly, like where we're going, I'm not even sure that's going to be a thing anymore. I think it's a good idea anyway, but we need to manage some sort of database of contact info to go along with it. I think there's going to be I think with the press releases, that's going to be work that's kind of going to happen anyway. This is where we've been talking about a bit of a biz dev thing to boot up. Anyway, you can go in and vote on that if you want. Speaking of press releases, so news publications often get inspiration for stories from press releases. Press release is a short 1 page or less document sent out to multiple news organizations at a time with details about an event, partnership, or other important information. They usually answer the question of who, what, why, when, how, and have a contact person listed. They're an easy way to get attention for the Uplift. In order to make this happen, a small group of people would need to create and maintain a spreadsheet of news organizations. We actually started doing this, back in the olden times, because it's just a really, really good idea, and it's something that sort of never got fleshed out as much as I would have liked to see it. So I'm really glad to see this again, because it just, imagine, okay, we're gonna do like any kind of event, right? Like a bigger event, and it's going out to all of the sort of newsy places on on Wax, but to 50 different publications in sort of the NFT or Web3 space or whatever, right? And of course, we want to cultivate relationships with them so they know it's coming or whatever. It's just a part of our strategy that is among the lowest hanging fruit that will have the highest ROI. Definitely takes time and organization to get that going on, and we'll have to put a team together to implement that.
Yeah, I write press releases all the time too. If you need some verbal help or physical help with that.
Okay. I know Jen was actually, I think she actually used to be a journalist, so she's done the press release thing before as well. But I think like any help in getting good at that, right? Like we want to get up to speed where I want us learning from the best and applying that as much as humanly possible. Because again, I think there's a ton of not only short term but long term ROI from getting really good at that.
Well, I can promise you, I've made just about every mistake. So
all right, I mean, this is fail fast, dude. Like this is how to do it.
Yeah.
It's super easy embedment they whipped out. Oh, hey, GK, are you talking about Nafty? Probably, right? From back, and we're talking about that. Yeah, there you go. Zmogus plus Laptis. Someday I'm going to say that word. Hopefully, right? Said, yeah, you need a newsletter because it's so hard to follow the news from Uplift. Almost missed the ETH sale. Yeah, I mean, there you go, right? And like I've seen you on the show, a bunch, right? So if you're missing stuff, then it just shows that we need to. It's work that needs doing. Okay, so pre-proposal direct development role is to pause Minecraft development. So we kind of talked about this a little bit. Again, you can come in and read this if you want. The biggest thing is we've got a couple things to close the loop on. One is making sure you can add people to your plots on Ethereum, because again, no matter what, we want people still building, right? We have a robust platform already. One thing I wanted to add into this list, because I thought we were really close to finishing it off, was converting the NFTs to a picture of the build. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Chris?
that's not on this list.
Okay.
After talking with Dr. Wayne as well, it didn't seem to make sense to have it on this list initially. We can do another proposal to finish that off. I kind of need him to start getting into mind test for a few days.
No,
so
that makes
we can
sense.
find out if it's going to make sense or not. And so, yeah.
Yeah,
but
no, that's fine.
Okay, cool. And like I said in this proposal, the wording says that anything done on Ethereum should be small and focused and voted on. So we've got room to vote on little
Got it.
not on Ethereum, on Minecraft. We've got room to vote on little Minecraft development as needed, but the goal is just to focus on other things.
Yeah, and I think right, and that should, I think, get resounding support. And I think it's not irrational now for those people in the community that are like, hey, like, why don't we just stay on Minecraft, right? I think just like looking super long term, now that they've made this pivot, like before we went through the EULA with a fine tooth comb, like we did have 2 legal teams look at it, right, and we were fine. And now, we're still, I think technically we're fine now, but this sentiment change is like, it's just an eye opener, right? Because they can basically come in and they've clearly taken a negative stance to our whole universe. And so, instead of trying to build an empire that lasts for a long time, like I'm not doing this to like make money in 2 years, right? Like if that was it, I'm telling you guys right now, I would have fucking quit already. Like full stop, I would not be here. It's the idea that we can build the actual metaverse. Like we, talked, waxed philosophical about this being version 1.0 of Ready Player One. And I'm not kidding, right? Like that's the real thing. And we started on Minecraft because it was the simplest way to get this up, right? The idea that we have property rights based on NFTs in a world that you can build, right? That read-write metaverse is the whole thing. Minecraft is not important for that. It's just not. Now, it's super important to us right now because this gaming culture that we've built out is really good, right? And like we don't want to overcomplicate that, which is something that I'm really famous for sometimes
It's true.
doing.
Well, I think you might be missing out though. Like, I'm not sure how many people truly care about Minecraft gameplay with a big exclamation point, and how many people are saying what you're saying, where it's like, hey, we need a read-write metaverse that is available from day one, that isn't
Yeah.
just Minecraft, and that we can bring our work over to. But
Right,
we don't want
exactly.
to lose our plots, we don't want to lose our builds, we don't want to lose our materials and and gear, and like fine if it takes a slightly different form, but we don't want to feel like we've lost work to
Right.
move over to this fork.
Well,
And then
right.
if the two run parallel, cool. If we have money later and decide, hey, look, there's a feature on Minecraft that really needs to be included, and people have, new builds on both worlds because it's been so long, then cool, we can look at it. But my gut tells me once we move over to something that's vastly compatible and that we can develop with the community and with the dev team, in a real fast, rapid, real time way, it's going to be more fun. And
Agreed.
eventually, people are going to be less interested about being on the Minecraft servers and more excited about being on their fork. But we'll have to see. So
Yeah, I mean, but then we have backup safety, right? And yeah, I think like the number of constraints we were under with Minecraft and the end user license agreement, I mean, that goes away. I've barely begun to start thinking about what we'll be able to do then.
correct, it all goes away. We can have gambling license.
You just got muted, Chris.
It's because you said the word gambling.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, no, gambling licenses. We can do, like I was saying with the mob stuff, like we can choose to not import animals as mods from day one and
Yeah.
have an animalless world, and then have a NFT pack sale for animals, right? And have those work right in if we wanted to, right?
Yeah.
There are some really extreme options that are very interesting, right? People could get their random animals, get breeding pairs together. They could always have the right to spawn those 2 animals or something like that. There's
If
lots of stuff we can play with.
if I
And
could find bees like that, I would totally buy bees. I've searched for days for bees.
right, exactly. There's value there. And then, like we had talked about with Minecraft, about like turning resources into NFTs and back and forth, we can do that without any risk now. Like that was always a bit of a questionable area, and then like now there wouldn't be a risk on something like Mind Test, so we can just implement it. We also have full control of a client, right? It's not just the server side of things. We've got the client, so we can do new graphical updates if we wanted to. Like, I don't think we're the right team for it this year or today, but like we could build shaders for things like that. There's a lot of modification that we can do on Mind Test.
Yeah.
Proximity is no problem. Their picture install plugins are already way better than Minecraft's because they're not built on image maps, right? They're full resolution, full color quality files that look amazing, and there's no reason video and other stuff won't be doable too. We'll have the same bandwidth questions, but we won't have to shove it through the Minecraft pipeline and hope that
Right. Yeah. It's just, it really does open up and again, like we're going back to, I love the fact that we're going back to first principles on it, and that, I mean, I think the biggest thing for the sort of mind test or whatever is like, and this is what I was talking to Landbox about, right? Like the you know, we have to make it as seamless as we possibly can, right? This Uplift community has gone through a lot already, right? So like trying to like the simpler we can keep it, I mean, that gets us into the much more interesting questions of, okay, what do we want to add? Like, do we do world DAOs? Because I mean, like, I want to vote. Like, if I have a huge thing in a position in gratitude, and somebody's like, hey, let's turn gratitude into a red light district, like, I'm probably going to vote against that, right? But if we booted up a new map and like somebody else wanted to do that, like, eventually somebody's going to do that on a different platform,
right? Well, and I'm pretty
automatically pop up.
adamant, right? I'm pretty adamant that we can do world DAOs today if we wanted to, because we can drop fungible tokens to landowners based on which world they're in, with each world having its own fungible token, and we can fire up a wax DAO for each of those worlds, and then governance is done. And as long as the team, quote unquote, or the roles in operations agree to implement config changes and all that sort of stuff, we can already have a lot of that play. That was one of the ways I was thinking. Some people want to consolidate worlds, and that's a whole other kettle of fish. But one of the ways you could maybe have a world shut down and consolidate it onto other ones is if that world itself voted to do so. Any other way would just feel like dragging people along. But...
Yeah. TC, this is a good point, and for some reason I just didn't realize this. So I love the fact that it costs nothing to download Mind Test and play. So I mean, yeah, like one of the friction points for us is that it costs $25 to buy Minecraft Java. So like, delete, right? Like, that's non-trivial.
Super true. Also, just you mentioned Landbox again, and like, one of the benefits of doing something like Mind Test ourselves is it frees up Landbox a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Like, if Landbox really does wind up being about importing OBJ files that we export from the people who really want to be on Landbox and have those all be close together, that's fine, as long as we have a full-fledged import function in Mind Test, right? If it has to replace that, then it's a little bit different.
It's tougher, right? No, I'm really coming around to that, and I actually talked to Fox already. And again, like, I want to look at a bunch of other stuff. It's just like the thing that gives us the most security and safety is the most important thing, right? And it seems like running our own client, like, even if it's a little bit, I don't even know if it really would be, like, if however much work that it takes for us to do that, just makes a ton of sense. But then, experimenting with, allowing that, I mean, that's just sexy, and there's no reason why we can't do it, right? Like, and I'll sort of, I'm brainstorming a proposal for that down the road too, for again, whatever direction we go, I'm going to have that ready. Wait, what? So it'll run off a USB key, so backup is crazy easy? Mind Test? What the shit? TC's fucking with my world.
It's honestly amazing, and it's open source. Like, I wish we had known about this beforehand. Like, there was some value of being on the Minecraft network, but like, in hindsight, most people who joined the Uplift hadn't played a lot of Minecraft, right? So like, firing up something like this would have been just as good an entry experience for a lot of those people, and everybody on the team would know exactly how it works because we'd have built it, you know?
Damn it, why don't you have a time machine, Tuttle?
Someday.
I know, right? In time.
Well, it's important to make mistakes publicly so that you can point back at the way that you handled the mistakes, and it's good to make those mistakes early so that when things do get awesome, we're not sitting here shit in the bed.
I fucking love you, dude. By the way, Lisa's asking how we can contact MetaBuilders. I'll grab your Twitter anyway.
Yes, and discord.gg/metabuilders.
Oh, well,
would be our Discord community.
Discord.gg/metabuilders. Tell me if this comment is correct. Blink.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Thank you, sir.
That's funny. TC's already looking into running it off of solar. That's sexy. That's really fun. All right, so pre-proposal allow operations to move servers off of AWS to a low-cost alternative. The biggest expense that scares the shit out of me all the time is our server cost. It costs $10,000 a month right now, right? And we've been working on trying to lower that, and like, it looked like we were going to be able to get like, maybe a 20-30%, drop on it on AWS. But looking into it further, again, like the Ethereum stuff was slower than we wanted. And then, Minecraft kicked us all in the balls. So like, we're scrambling, right? Like we need to figure out how to maintain this. And, if we have, this expense at the rate it's at now, we've got basically like 1.5-ish months of runway. And again, you can look at the financial statement that's on chain, and see why, if you want, right? Like, again, we're publishing all of our books online. Or on the DAO page, not just online, so it's on chain. So it makes tons of sense. Now, granted, like lag is going to be an issue, probably, but also like the servers haven't been insanely full, right? The main thing about AWS is if we wanted to have an event where suddenly like 500 people showed up, it'd be easy to scale into that and just make that happen, right?
Yeah, like in hindsight, I would say it would have been better had we been on something different because of the user numbers that we saw after. But we moved over to AWS for a big reason, and that was because when we were seeing these player count spikes, it was impossible to manage that, right? And
Yep.
like you need an infrastructure that's that flexible to handle the fact that any day might be the day that suddenly you triple in player count again.
Yep.
Right. But when we're not in that situation, it's a different story. And realistically, since we've got the Uplift and become the DAO, like I think we're on the hook for 2, maybe 3 months of servers. Like it hasn't been a long time, and so it would have been difficult to switch over beforehand anyway. And with the ETH sale, we really did anticipate it to be a pretty exciting affair, and then kind of had the rug pulled out from under us by Mojang. But like I think it's time now for the move.
It makes sense, and it's really cool that that's even available, right? Like so yeah. Obviously, I'm gonna be voting for that one. And again, like welcome to Crypto Winter. This is where we're at. It's gonna be a challenge. We're gonna meet it. This is one of the ways. So direct internal development. So with the recent news, blah blah blah, you guys know. So 2 prominent options after discussion in Discord. Direct resources to setting up a test server for an open source voxel-based platform. Minetest is the leader here. We'd import a world into Minetest. Fork can develop the features needed for NFT gating, images, portals, and rewards tracking. This will be open for all to see and contribute. If operations wants to test additional voxel platforms, they should be allowed as well. Note, this would be the start of a big project, but an exciting one. So once finished, we'd re-import all worlds and ideally all builds, materials, and gear. That's an amazing standard, or as much as humanly possible. I think that's just, whatever. We talked about that already. So that's 1. 2, direct resources into importing worlds, materials, and gear into broader engine like Unreal 5, Unity, or Godot. I still don't know what Godot is. I'm going to have to figure that out. This will also not be a transcription, and in this case, the translation could be of higher fidelity, forcing Unreal into voxels not higher in comparison to Minetest, or could be a re-rendering of worlds and builds. Again, like this is like the 2 things, and we've talked about this a bunch. If you're curious about this, like we had long conversations about this a couple times during this hour and a half long little session we've had already. But I think that the main point, Chris, that you keep bringing up that I'm super amenable to is like the we go back to the simple rule a lot, right? Like what's the function or the pattern that fits the most desires and goals and vision that we have for this moment, right? That gets us to a position where we're kind of safe, right? And then also gives us the most opportunity to grow for the longest period of time and increase. Hey, Nick Capella, how you doing? And keep developing, right? And going to Unreal 5, obviously we've been testing some of it at a very basic level, right? Going to something like that, I'm a huge proponent for getting to the next level of technology. But I think it's also valid that like we still have a lot of things to test at this layer, from governance to increasing the rewards to being able to play without any oversight, right? I think that is more than enough to keep us busy, frankly, until the next bull market comes up, right? And I think then we're in a position to very likely make some serious money for the treasury. And then we can, because I mean, Unreal builds can cost millions, right? So like then we have the ability to look at, okay, what's the state of technology in like 2024, 2025, and we could take again like the stuff that we've learned on Minecraft, and then the stuff that we learn on Minetest or Landbox. And I'm really coming around to the Minetest thing, by the way, and whatever platforms we also fork to, right? Because it's not going to be exclusive. I think that just my vote on this is becoming a lot easier. I think the voxel platforms is a simpler thing that we can do.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, and like the way this vote is structured, like, me as the chair of new projects and the operations committee themselves will have leeway. So if test both gets voted through, I still think the priority is going to be towards testing mind test. And if that looks great, we'll do a proposal to adopt that and may not test other things right away.
Yeah.
If test voxel platforms goes through, of course, we'll be looking at mind test. If test broader engines only goes through, then it shows that the community really wants us to be on something that isn't Minecraft-like and that is sort of brand new. And
Right.
so then we'll listen to that. But
Yep.
yeah,
Well, and I think too that again, even just sort of thinking about what, because I'm super fascinated. I mean, like Fox from Landbox was really, gunning for us and showing us examples and testing out, builds or whatever. And that is always sort of really impressive. Like he's sort of pre-doing all the work. Fine, right? And I sort of dig the idea of that sort of single order of magnitude, upgrade in fidelity, where Unreal is like, I don't know, 10, right? Like whatever it is. It's interesting, but we can do stuff with that, right? Just as an extra thing, though, right? Like we can port builds, on a case by case basis, as opposed to, again, like porting the entire maps over is like a whole other endeavor, right? And
right.
making sure we can do that though is vital, right? Again, like the world file, having a way to go in and read write the world file that is the uplift has to be priority number one, right? Like the whole thing.
Right. Well, and it frees us up for everything else if that is there, and if that is the priority number one,
Right.
then other people can contribute, or new people that come into the dev team. Like, there's lots of options after that is there. Yeah.
Yep. Cool beans. All right. So yeah, that whole thing. Vote on that. Oh, the other thing I was gonna say, we could still we could set up bounties still. And sorry, we're thinking too many things at once. Um, if we went, and this is all speculation, right? So if we go with mind test, and if I were to make a proposal to, I sort of mapped out a brief idea for a deal with Landbox that would just be like an aside, right? A fun sort of sub test or side test or whatever to everything that's going on. If we did that, it sets an interesting precedent. Then we could turn around, excuse me, and put out a proposal giving even a small DAO token bounty on, like, show us a test, like this is what happened, right? People showed us that this was entirely possible, so show us that there's a test. And we can just workshop a proposal, and if there's enough interest in it, then we make a dope deal and rock and roll, right? Like because there's no rules against that. We can just do it.
Right. And honestly, that's what these next two proposals are trying to address, is to try to give us the freedom for that. So
cool beans. All right, well, let me dig in. Community development of internal platform features. This proposal would set a shard budget and a DAO token budget. Oh yeah, so it just was basically like ranting and not in an organized way about something you did all this work on. Thank you for being patient with how much of a jackass I am. This proposal would set a shard budget and a DAO token budget for DAO members looking to contribute more seriously on either the platform decision phase or the full development phase of creating an internally developed read-write platform that allows full import of Minecraft worlds, plots, builds, materials. Budgets will be proposed later, but this proposal indicates interest in this pathway. Interestingly enough, like I know this is like whatever, it doesn't matter. I think you could get rid of materials and it would still work, but that's just me. And not for right now. So just pretend I didn't say that. Anyway, so you can vote on that whole thing. Boop. All right, welcome other platforms to host a form of our worlds. And again, like this, I think it's good to set this out as just a sentiment clarification for the DAO, right? Like to me, I think it's like Mr. Obvious Pants. But getting us all on the same page as the DAO, I think is really important. So this proposal would welcome other platforms looking to host our worlds in some form or another. Unlike the whole cloth import imagined in the direct dev resources proposal, the form of this import could be much looser, though amazing if you can import the whole thing. Ideally, our worlds themselves in the abstract with our grids of plots on them must be accessible through NFT gating. They can use our ownership authentication or their own, and link to the existing plot NFTs as an additional home you'd have access to. But a viewer for existing worlds builds re-rendered for exploration in Unreal, or a fishing mini game, there it is, where you own plots each with a fishing hole, or anything you could imagine would be of interest to the DAO. Fishing mini games. Each of these options, when if presented, will be vetted by the DAO. DAO tokens, shards, land, even a small world could be offered as compensation for these projects. A DAO proposal to accept specific terms and compensation for such hosts would be set up on a case-by-case basis. Any of these projects, if accepted, could further go on to work with the DAO to set up our own version of their technology if all sides considered it a good option and the DAO voted to approve it. So again, this, I think, just really organized that, like, can we set up a deal with Landbox, or can we set up a deal with the Neos thing, right? I still need to look at that. And I'm going to talk to you, Mike, hopefully later today or tomorrow about it.
And also Framed Games' friend, who has this RuneScape clone that is quite interesting and well Discord integrated. There's a couple of people that are coming forward saying maybe, right? And so this will welcome all those. People can set up YouTube videos. They can start to sell to the DAO in a more serious way. They don't have to try to look for people in DMs to try to say, hey, look, does your project want to buy this or do this? They can work with everyone,
Right. And I think, like, if there's enough interest, I think there's a way to set these things up so that we can market test them, right? I fucking love market testing shit. It's really fun, and viable. Like, things can either work or they don't. And this is the thing that came up to me again over and over again on the weekend. Like, iteration is key, right? I think on Minecraft, it's been good, but this is forcing us to iterate, and iterate, like, allows for like order of magnitude increases in capabilities. And I think that's, like, at the end of the day, what we've been looking at now, right? And so any other little thing that we can test, like those iterations, we're going to find the forms and the functions that really map to our community, but then we'll map to our community over time. So 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the processes that we're laying down right now are going to allow us to be putting feelers out to test all sorts of different kinds of things, all the things, right? And then eventually, what really connects, like that portal that connects all of these worlds together, like Ready Player One, is the fucking NFT, right? Like, down the road, there might be technology so that, like, your AR glasses are constantly beaming you from one thing to the other and it's seamless. Fine, right? But the network is all the marbles. And that's the one thing that we have no matter what. Like, you can't take that away from us ever. And, sorry, rant.
Right. That's part of what these My Meta profiles do as well. When you set up the profile, we essentially drop an NFT into your wallet, and that NFT starts tracking achievements through the metaverse ecosystem. So your avatars end up, let's say if we make a specific weapon, we can add that weapon and the metadata for all these different NFTs into this, like, achievements type scenario, to where you can go into all these different metaverses and automatically have that item be generated and have its use case and all that other stuff just automatically happen. And then now you're building in your avatar, essentially in your wallet, all of these achievements and all of these, token gating and all that stuff.
Right, and it's similar, like TC just commented, what if you could add other game platforms to the Uplift Land NFT? So someone was to buy the Uplift NFT, one could use that NFT for different games. And exactly, right? Like, the goal here is, in as many places as possible, that NFT will also get you into a world that has the same name. So your, Uplift spawn plot will be a spawn plot at Uplift on lots of places, on our mine test, and ideally on other platforms too. On some, it might not be a spawn plot. On some, it might just be, hey, look, you've got a land plot that is with a bunch of other people who have chosen to add this upgrade, right, to get onto our world. On some, it might just be, hey, look, you've got a build or some credits or something like that. There's lots of things that could be added to the NFT. And I think it's a mistake for platforms not to be looking to cross-pollinate each other's NFTs. Like, Corey put it so well, saying the NFT is the portal. Like, that's the way it needs to be in order to get around the technical limitations of, click one button and move from one metaverse to the other. Instead, you need some touchstone, and that's your plot NFT.
Right? Like, those are gonna those barriers are gonna go away to the point where, like, you're, distantly in the future, right? Like, we're all gonna have AR glasses and we'll just pop in and out of the virtual reality, all the time, right? Like, that's where all this is going, probably within 5 years. And the technology gets to the point where, like, you just, like, voice click the idea of going from one to the other, right? You don't need to walk through it if you can just think it. Right? Then it's just all this kind of happens. I don't know. I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself, but that's where it's all going. Your volume went down, Chris. Hopefully she comes back.
How about now?
Booyah.
Yay! No, I was just saying you're pretty restrained, to be honest, given the amount of sci-fi I know we both read. The fact that we don't go into some of the more esoteric applications of this stuff does say something.
Right? We're trying to keep it simple, god damn it.
Oh, I remember the early days with my biotech company when we just had a portfolio of things that we were brainstorming on, deciding what to pour resources into. And it was hard to keep it extremely simple to know, look, you can deal with 1 or 2 genes, there's a couple, but there's so much stuff you want to do. I always talk about it. I've always wanted to grow salt-tolerant corn and have sea corn farmsteads. And it's only a couple of dozen genes.
Slow down.
Right?
Okay, hold on. No, I would need you to go back to the beginning on this. So, salt tolerant coin. Just so you guys know, I said this many times, but I'm gonna say it again. Tuttle is fucking slumming it, hanging out with us, and I'm grateful for it. So anyway, you're talking about genetically modifying corn so that it's salt tolerant. Yay, salt. I was thinking oh, what if there's too much salt, in the soil? No. So that you could grow it in the ocean.
Certainly high salt tolerant or salt content land would be fine too, but the ocean is such a big ripe area to start to expanding onto.
Yeah. I mean, you're just having, corn go into seasteading, and seasteading is a whole other thing. All right. New goal. After the next bull market, when we just boost our treasury to the point where it's fucking hilarious, I want to see a proposal where we do the Uplift seastead. And part of that is an initiative to grow salt corn. I mean, even just fish farms out there. It's just come on, that's really fun. Yeah. And there's just giant resource that's just sitting out there. And we'll just start owning our own land. That's the other thing. And there's a lot of this that podcast I sent to you, Tuttle. The Tim Ferriss with I can't remember the guy's name, but they were talking about a lot of sort of future stuff, and they end up talking about freedom of speech or whatever. But he's talking about it was digital nations basically, right? And he's just describing what we're doing, right? The metaverse stuff that we're doing, and he starts talking through the really thorny problems of moderation and building communities that actually function or whatever. How much work we've done on that. I was telling Tyler and Wayne, I'm so proud of what we've built over the last year and a half on that, because we've had to spend a lot of effing time on it, right?
Heck but yeah, and we don't advertise that enough, and you're super right, and I forget about it too sometimes, but that year and a half that we have on some of these other projects or other spaces that are looking to build things isn't just a year and a half of tech development. What it really is a year and a half of community building, moderation, learning, going through all those problems. We've had someone's put up an inappropriate flag or, bombed an area or released a dragon in our world already. We've had Discord problems. We've gone through so much of that stuff. And now we already have a huge structure that is built on some pretty simple rules, just the pre-proposal proposal system, right? So it's pretty understandable, but there's, I think there have been 100 proposals already, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and 10% of them in the last 24 hours. And again, all needed, right? And I think that the one of the bigger things he ends up talking about is the idea that, and we talked about it a little bit, this whole Discord, the DAO thing, right? It's a way to kind of run a sort of a quote unquote company, right? Where we all own it, right? It's like having shares in the company, but they're immediately liquid, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot more powerful. But the idea of digital nations, where, the treasury that we have is not just going to be to build the metaverse if we don't want it to be, right? I think we need a core organizing principle. And this is one of the things you talked about. You need the commandment, right? So that, even going down to just the gratitude thing, frankly, that gratitude practice becomes a kernel that the rest of the community kind of correlates around. And the principles that we bring to bear, are generally in line with that ethos, right? And then he said, then you just start buying up land and, you've become a nation. And so buying up land is one thing. Creating seasteads is maybe a lot more fun. And really how hilariously cool would that be? Also, I'm connected to the freaking dude that is pushing Steedhead's heart. I can't remember his name right now. But I'm friends with him on Facebook, and they're building them. So like that could be like an actual thing that we do down the road with salt-resistant, genetically modified corn from our very own Ramses.
Could you imagine?
I just did, and it was good.
Yeah, I was just picturing that myself because I had this idea to clean up oil with mycelium and things like that, and I saw somebody was doing something similar to that. It would be interesting to see, like, let's say, for example, we could create a giant barge of mycelium and then throw a bunch of nice soil on top of it, run the roots through the mycelium into the ocean, filtering out the salt. I don't know if that would work, but...
You drop that again, Chris. I'm going to buy you a new microphone.
No, that was her response. Beep.
So sorry. Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back.
Cool. Yeah, no, exactly. You might not even need the soil, to be completely honest, but like if you start that way, you might eventually get a substrate that people can walk on, right? Like it's a layering process. One of the first projects that we had actually looked at with a biotech company and built a few things on it was just a method of gluing cellulose-based waste together with a bacterially derived gene that we built, so that you could basically make bricks of almost concrete or material out of just compost. And like there's so much stuff we could play with once we get there. I just wanted,
that's where my heart lays, right there, that kind of stuff. Like,
right, and before we finish this up, like I've always thought about choose your own adventure companies, and DAOs have been the way to start to get there. And someday I really do think that there will be a bunch of companies sort of like the Uplift that start as a DAO under some sort of incubator where you've got one token and you can move it between these different companies to figure out which company you care more about, which one's got that, you know, commandment or basic statement that you like. And then they all start developing their DAO architecture and protocols. And at some point, anyone who's got their token staked over at that company has them converted into a specific token for that DAO, because it just forms, right? So you can move around between them, but eventually just commit to one. And right now you have to sell your token on Uniswap and buy some for a different DAO if you want to move over, and there's friction there. But like, I think we'll get past that. And I don't know, it's just very exciting to think about. And I love that we have a little bit of space for that kind of pie in the sky thinking,
right?
Even during crisis.
Right, yeah. Exactly. I think we'll have more. So hey, I sort of, I started here. So I spent a lot of time in my brain here over the weekend. But I would like to invite anybody who's on the show right now to put up a gratitude in Cathedral 1.0, which is a pretty fucking rare thing. Talk about scarcity. But it's amazing that all you guys are here right now and that we got to have this conversation. So feel free to let me know what you're grateful for.
I'm grateful for everyone in the mind testing channel. There's been so many people pushing ahead already with this that... yeah, for the first time in a long time, I feel like we're behind the community in development on the Uplift.
That's great.
That feels great.
Yeah, I go away for 2 days and like got some much needed clarity and whatever back, and it's just like getting hit in the face with a fire hose when I got back. I'm that's what I'm grateful for.
I think I am going to try to take a couple of days off once these final proposals go up. Like, I mean, I can't ever get properly away, but I'm going to go to Vancouver and say hi to my family and, try to get
that's
some
where I am.
There too. Nice.
Oh, you're in Vancouver?
Vancouver, Washington, in the United States.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Close.
Yeah, stone's throw away.
I'm grateful for big ideas.
Nobody knows we exist, though, to be honest. Every time someone says Vancouver, they're like, Canada? Like, no.
Yeah,
no, we don't exist. We're North Portland, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to hop off and go make my kids some breakfast. It was a pleasure being on with you.
Oh, man, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks so much. Really good to have you on.
Talk to you soon.
Yep. Thanks, Lawrence. Hopefully this spell here didn't look right. No, that's right. Okay, cool. All right, well, onward, upward. Hey, Tuttle, when are we doing the next huddle? Wednesday still? Or are we doing something before that?
So always a voice huddle on Wednesdays. Mondays, the video part's optional.
Okay.
So I think because we've just had like 2 hours of live stream, maybe I just get a text huddle together. But if you're around, I'm totally fine for us to just pop in, do gratitudes, and say hi today too. So
Okay. Yeah, I think even if we just do 5 minutes to do gratitudes, we
yeah.
don't do anything else.
And always 11:30 Eastern. So.
11:30. Got it. Yeah, I keep thinking 11 still. But anyways, yeah. All right, cool beans. Thanks for a lot for joining us and for thinking about things like salt-resistant corn. What the fuck?
Thanks for hearing me out. Like I said, we try not to go down those paths when we're focused. But
I think we
right
should.
sometimes.
I think we should not do that. And now, granted, like I think the spaces we should like trot that stuff out on happy hour.
You know, that's a good call. I need to get more comfortable at happy hour talking about this stuff. That's what it's
100%.
for. Yeah.
Right? Like this is the time to get weird.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna pop out too.
All right.
See you,
All right, thanks guys, and thanks for hanging out, everybody. I appreciate it a lot, and we'll we'll see you tomorrow. Actually, no, we have Jen's got a big show at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time today. With she got like a bunch of badasses like Russell Chorus. I think Mike's coming back. Ken Bozak. I'm going to be there. Just it was like, hey, what do we do about this whole Minecraft thing? And I'm excited to pop in and sort of let everyone know. But I think it'll be about the future of the metaverse as well. So rock and roll, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time on this channel. Yeehaw. Oh, wait a minute. Jimmy would want me to do the video thing. So hold on. Let me do this right. Do it right and stuff. Outro. What's the new outro? I mean, technically, we're still on the whole E thing, but that Gamebo one is, yeah, let's do that.